I'll probably just start it halfway through a sentence because I'm a very, very professional sort of a person. What I wanted to talk to you about, really, is this, which is much, much better than I thought it would be. Obviously, I bought it thinking it wouldn't be that good, but it was good. Obviously, I'm some sort of idiot. It's an FTX Outback Mini 2.0 X Outback Mini 2.0 X Fury sadness tantrum thing. Well, a friend of mine just calls it a tantrum because surely a Mini Fury is a tantrum. Fury car. Well, it's a Jeep. It's a Jeep. It's pretending to be a Jeep. It's doing a good impression of a Jeep. And it's got a fantastic amount of detail. It's really, really good. And it's cheap. It's about 90 quid, which is cheap for a 1/18th crawler like this. There's only one thing wrong with it, which I'll get to, but because I'm such a positive sort of person, I'll do the good things first. It's up there with the other, like the Axial, the other mini crawlers, let's say. The 1/24th as well as the 1/18th. It's a good thing. I'll shut up. Let's show you this thing up close. I'll shut up now. I will. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. It's nice. It's really good. One of the most obvious thing that's really nice is the body. I watched a few videos about this before I bought one. I thought it looked pretty good, and I don't know if it's going to come across on this video for the same reason as the other ones. It looks a lot better in real life than you might think. There's a lot of detail on this body. The stickers aren't the best on here, but look, you've got a hard plastic mirror on it. You've got a snorkel, same, the mirror there. Spare tyre on a mount, normal spare tyre, doesn't squeak. There aren't any foams in the tyres, but I think at this weight and size it doesn't matter. You get a little bit of squish and they'll conform a little bit to the rocks. This is pretty obvious, this big thing, but they've integrated a clip for the body, so there's no posts or pins anywhere, and it does work really well. Just pull that little bit back, lift it up. This is not the stock electronic setup, by the way. Another little detail that I really appreciate is this tiny channel in the sliders. There's a lot of 1/10th models that don't bother doing that. So you get the little, you get the body, if you can, trying to line up both sides, failing miserably. There we go. Get them in there, push the little clip. It's really sturdy. It's quite thick Lexan as it is. It's been, it's been rolled quite a few times already. It's wearing quite well. This paint is sticking quite well, even though it's on the outside. I just appreciate them taking the time, to be honest. A lot of people would use stickers on there. These lights are stickers, fine. These have LEDs. Why don't I turn it on? There you go. Boop, doop, doop. That's not standard. So yeah, got headlights, tail lights, and they're pretty bright. They look good at night or when it's getting dark. The body looks really good. There's a nice amount of detail in it as well, molded into the Lexan itself. Obviously they bothered to put stickers of window trims, but look, they've even molded in the hinges of the boot. I mean, it's nice. I'm quite impressed with the level of detail, really. And you've got hard plastic mounts for the rear lights, which are shaped. They actually screw in. There's light buckets on the inside of it too. Yeah, the body is it's impressive. It's more detailed than my SCX24. I think it's more detailed than the Jeep version of that as well. It looks really good. So that's number one. So number two good thing is the chassis. This chassis is a lot better than I thought it would be once again. The rails, the main rails, they're metal. I couldn't quite tell, but they are some sort of aluminium. Oops. The rest of it is plastic, but it's fairly stiff. I mean, let's have a twist. It's very stiff, actually. I hadn't even tried that before because, I mean, who cares, right? At this scale and weight, it's not going to flex seriously anyway. but it's pretty strong. You've got 3 links at the front. It's got a panhard bar up in there, if you can see. 4 links at the rear. Got proper sliders, which I appreciate. The 24, the FTX 24 doesn't have sliders at all, and they're quite rigidly mounted. I don't really like these red plastic shock bodies, and I was going to upgrade them, and there is an aluminium version that you can upgrade to. It looks a lot better, and I think you can put oil in it. But I like the way it bounces so much that I don't want to change it. I think it looks really good. I enjoy watching it move. All right, let me talk about the electronics. Obviously, the very bad thing of the stock electronics. The problem, and I think I've got some footage, a small amount of footage from when it turned up, is the noise. Here's the original, probably some sort of clockwork inside there, a couple of little homunculi and some magic, maybe a wizard or two. Not a very good wizard, quite a noisy one. Bloody awful. It just sounds like a robot trying to have sex with a fax machine that doesn't love it. It sounds like a Dalek falling down the stairs. It's like 2 bats on a water slide. As soon as you pull the throttle, it just sounds like the end of the world on a bad phone line. Anyway, as stock, the battery, which is a 2S LiPo, obviously it sits in there, which is a terrible place for it. Very bad for climbing. You've got your stock electronics here. This is the standard controller. Quite a good little controller, really. It's the one where you can take it apart for travel, which is good, but it does make this trigger quite vulnerable if you do that, if you're putting it in a bag. Anyway, I can't use that anymore. And you've got a servo. For one thing, it says 1 kilogram, and it is actually quite a strong servo. It does a lot better than the FTX 24 one. Also, it's waterproof. All the electronics are waterproof as stock, like even the receiver, because it's a receiver combo, with the ESC. I'm quite impressed with that. Again, the FTX 24, which I keep referring to because that's the only other mini crawler I've got. And it is acknowledged as the best one. The 24 isn't waterproof. Certainly mine died when I drove it in the water. So before I put the fancy Fury Tech thing in there, which is very good, I use one of these little cheap eBay ESCs, £5 or less maybe even than that, and it did make a big difference to the noise, and it reacted just as well as the stock electronics, if not better, because this is the typical herky-jerky, like as soon as you pull the throttle it would just jump forwards or jump backwards. It makes it look very unrealistic. This was better. Put the Fury Tech in there and it's great. It's got some lovely modulation, which I'll put some film in wherever, just all over the screen. I'll put it all over the screen. With a new ESC, so it doesn't sound quite so horrendously horrendous. It's a lot more fun to drive. Change the weight balance, and it's a million times better on the little pile of rocks I've got, little crawler course. It's so much better. It didn't used to be able to even begin to get onto the courses that I built for the FTX 24. Now it can do most of them, with a bit of care. It's still not as good as the 24. It could probably do with some stickier rubber, but it's another thing I don't want to change because I really like the look of them. They're nicely in scale with a nice amount of sidewall. They're a good height, much more scale than the for the SCX24G. So yeah, I'm going to leave it stock, I think. I think these are beadlock wheels as well. I've never actually looked. Yeah, you can see screws in there. They are actually beadlock. They're not glued on, which is also good. I need to get some, at least some matte black paint up in there. There are no wheel wells, so you can see straight through. That needs a bit of a fix. It looks worse on camera than in real life, because in real life, basically, if you're looking underneath it, something bad's happened and you've fallen in the river and you're drifting away. And that's about it, I would say. Even with a change of ESC, this is still cheaper than the SCX24. It's not going to beat it on a hard course, but it looks awesome as it's going round. And it's just a really fun little car to drive. And it's nicely made. I'm impressed with the quality of it. I think these were Hobby Plus, was it? Exactly the same as Hobby Plus, which I think people have noticed on the trailer. Some wheels. So yeah, get one. Oh, I do. I hate starting these things off. I just sound like a drunken, slurring idiot when I start. I keep looking at the wrong part of the screen. Anyway, I'll probably just start it halfway through a sentence because I'm a very, very professional sort of a person. That's true, that is. Because I've changed. So I've changed as a person as well. No, I haven't really.